Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, General Hospital. General Hospital Story. Chaos and miracles in Port Charles. The church was silent, except for the occasional rustle of tissue and the soft sobs of mourners gathered to pay their respects. Sam McCall's funeral had drawn nearly everyone in Port Charles, each person carrying their own memories and grief. Sam had touched many lives, and her loss left a gaping hole in the hearts of her family and friends. The funeral begins. Alexis Davis, Sam's mother, stood at the front of the church with Kristina and Molly by her side. Her face was a mask of strength, but her hands trembled as she clutched the folded program bearing her daughter's image. Sam's children, Danny Morgan and Scout Quartermain, sat in the first pew, their small figures dwarfed by the enormity of the moment. Danny, though only a child, had taken on a mantle of anger and confusion that burned brighter with each passing day. Scout, too young to fully understand, clung to Alexis, sensing the weight of the sadness around her. Jason Morgan, Sam's former lover and Danny's father, stood stoically nearby, his jaw clenched as he kept his emotions in check. Carly Corinthos, ever the pillar of strength for Jason, offered silent support. As the service began, a slideshow of Sam's life played on a screen above the altar. Images of her as a mischievous young girl, a daring private investigator, and a devoted mother flashed by, each one eliciting fresh waves of tears from the crowd. A child's grief. When it was Danny's turn to speak, the young boy hesitated, gripping the edges of the podium tightly. "My mom was the bravest person I know," he began, his voice shaking but firm. "She always told me to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard." His words faltered, and his gaze drifted toward Lucas Jones, who sat near the back of the church, his head bowed in shame. Danny's small fists clenched at his sides. "And she didn't deserve to die," Danny shouted, his voice echoing through the church. "You let her die." His finger pointed accusingly at Lucas, whose face turned ashen. The congregation gasped, and Alexis rushed to Danny, pulling him into her arms. Jason moved swiftly, his hand resting protectively on his son's shoulder. "Danny, that's enough," Jason said softly, though his eyes flicked to Lucas with a trace of unease. Lucas stood, visibly shaken. "Danny, I'm so sorry," he stammered, but the child's anger was unrelenting. Chaos erupts. Before anyone could intervene, the church doors swung open with a bang. Ric Lansing strode in, his presence a stark contrast to the somber in Port Charles. Ric muttered under his breath, though loud enough for Alexis to hear. "What are you doing here?" Alexis demanded, her voice rising. "I came to pay my respects," Ric replied, though his smirk suggested otherwise. "You have no respect," Alexis shot back, stepping closer to him. "You never did." The tension between them escalated quickly, with Kristina stepping in to calm her mother. "Mom, not here," she pleaded, but Alexis was too far gone. "You think you can just waltz in here and insult my family while we're mourning?" Alexis spat, her voice trembling with fury. Ric smirked. "I'm just here to remind everyone that while you're busy painting Sam as a saint, some of us remember the truth." Jason took a step forward, his fists clenched, but Carly grabbed his arm, shaking her head. A miracle unfolds. Amid the chaos, an urgent whisper rippled through the crowd. "It's Lulu." Dan Falconeri, seated near the back with his son Rocco, froze. He turned to see Laura Collins rushing into the church, her face alight with an emotion few recognized. Pure, unbridled hope. "Lulu is awake," Laura announced breathlessly. The room erupted into a cacophony of gasps and murmurs. Dante shot to his feet, his grief over Sam momentarily replaced by disbelief. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "She woke up," Laura repeated, her eyes glistening with tears. She opened her eyes and spoke. Dante hesitated, torn between rushing to Lulu's side and staying to honor Sam's memory. Rocco grabbed his hand. "Go, Dad," the boy said, his voice firm. Dante nodded and left the church with Laura, the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders. A town in turmoil. Back in the church, the revelation about Lulu cast a strange shadow over the funeral. For those closest to Sam, her ultimate sacrifice felt bittersweet. She had saved Lulu's life, but at the cost of her own. Alexis, struggling to compose herself, returned to the podium. "Sam was a fighter," she said, her voice steady. "She would want us to celebrate the miracle she made possible, even as we mourn her loss." The room fell silent, her words striking a chord. Meanwhile, outside the church, Ric cornered Kristina. "You're blaming the wrong person for everything," he said, his tone deceptively gentle. Kristina glared at him. "Stay away from me and my family, Ric." "Fine," he said with a shrug. "But you know as well as I do that Ava had nothing to do with what happened to your baby." Kristina froze, his words cutting deep. A new chapter. As the funeral concluded, the residents of Port Charles left the church with heavy hearts. For some, the day marked the end of an era. For others, it was a reminder that life in their chaotic little town never stayed still for long. Danny held Jason's hand tightly as they walked to the car. "Dad," he said quietly, "do you think Mom is proud of me?" Jason knelt, looking his son in the eye. "She's more than proud, Danny. She loves you more than anything, and she always will." At General Hospital, Dante stood by Lulu's bedside, watching her sleep. Her awakening was nothing short of a miracle, but it came at a great cost. He placed his hand over hers, silently vowing to make her sacrifice worthwhile. And somewhere in Port Charles, Ric Lansing plotted his next move, the wheels of chaos turning as the town prepared for the next chapter in its never-ending saga. Stay tuned to General Hospital for more drama, heartbreak, and miracles in the making. Lulu Spencer wakes up. As Danny Morgan, Asher Antonizon, rages at Lucas Jones, Van Hansis for not saving his mom, Sam McCall, Kelly Monaco, her good deed pays off. The whole reason Sam was in surgery in the first place was to save Lulu Spencer's, Alexa Haven's, life. And also to hopefully bring her out of her 4-year-long coma. This week, it finally happens and Lulu opens her eyes. Indeed, her family will be beside themselves with joy. But her ex-husband, Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, may experience conflicted feelings. Of course, he wants Lulu to wake up and get her life back on General Hospital. Most importantly, he wants that for their son, Rocco Falconeri, FinCare. But he's distraught over losing Sam and wishes she didn't have to give her life for Lulu's. So he might not be able to fully feel the joy of having Lulu back as he grieves for Sam. If so, it could break Lulu's heart to see him grieving for the woman he loves when she is still in love with him. Still, it will be wonderful to see Lulu again, and it all starts this week. Alexis goes off on Ric, General Hospital spoilers. Later, there's more drama and fighting when Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, faces off with her shady ex-husband, Ric Lansing, Rick Hurst. It's unclear if it happens at the services or not, but they go at each other soon. Most likely, it has to do with the fact that he's trying to exonerate Ava Jerome, Maura West. He hopes to prove she is not responsible for Kristina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mancy, losing her baby. Ric likely trash talks Chrissy to Alexis, and it pushes her over the edge on General Hospital. Indeed, he is not above insulting Alexis' daughter while she's mourning another one. GH is can't miss this week. Tune in daily to watch the city of Port Charles honor Sam McCall, while Lulu Spencer finally wakes up on the ABC daytime drama. Get all the latest General Hospital spoilers and updates daily from Soap Dirt.